Let's see. Good evening, gamers, and welcome to another fun filled episode of Games with Dave. Tonight, I have the pleasure of being joined by game designer, fellow podcaster, and coordinator for several game conventions and gaming organizations in and around Guadalajara, Mexico, Irvin Morales. Irvin operates Roll Per Second, which produces games, podcasts, and KoboldCon, which is focused on showcasing both indie and old school games in Mexico. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. I have been looking forward to this for a while.
Me too. Thank you for having me, Dave. It's great to be here. I was so excited to see you. So finally we made it.
I know we did have to reschedule due to both of us kind of getting confused. Like even after we rescheduled, we're like, so what time is it there? Well, what time is it there? And it's like
it's always trouble, right? Like it's kind of hard. So this happens to me all the time with the people from Spain. Like it's crazy.
But we made it, so that's what matters. So
yeah, we're here.
So I saw on Roll Per Second that you got into gaming around 2003, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
So is that with third edition or?
Yeah.
Something else.
3.5. It was like the main thing when I was starting to play, and it was amazing because it was something so different to like what we have on like the medium Mexico. So it was something just unbelievable cool. And I started playing by 3.5. It was horrible to play. It's not one of my main like greatest D&D editions, right? But it was amazing. Yeah, it was pretty fun to start playing by that. I've been playing like for like 20 years now, 23 years or something like that. Like I lost count, but yeah, so basically.
You must be younger than me because I've been playing since the 80s.
Wow.
So I'm old. So
yeah, I mean, it's amazing to think that like almost all the hobby has like 50 years, maybe a little bit more. And there's people that has been playing like, I don't know, 40 years or something. And it's like, wow. Yeah. I only have like the half of the life of the hobby. But yeah.
Well, I do too. I missed third edition and 3.5. My brother had passed away and I just stopped gaming for the longest time. And then one of my friends around 2014, it was just at the end of fourth edition, was like, dude, you got to come play games with us. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And they got me to play, and I've been back in action ever since then. I found Mutant Crawl Classics.
Wow, yeah.
And I fell in love with the cover. And then I found Dungeon Crawl Classics, and I was just like, all right, I'm back in, baby.
Yeah, that is great because it's something that I always talk about on my show, and it's this thing about there's way too many different like flavors to D&D, and I always say it's like your D&D, it's not my D&D because I might like an older edition or something. It's just way different to play, like more crawling and stuff, more classical stuff. And the thing with the main or like the latest edition from D&D, it's just going away from all this like crawling and old school stuff. And it's not for me. It's not bad, but it's not for me, right?
Yeah, it's more focused on the narrative, it seems like, than like killing monsters. And I want to kill monsters, and go into the dungeon and spend a year with my friends exploring the dungeon.
Just one dungeon, maybe, right? Like this huge place, right?
Yep. Oh, that's like the dungeon that Frog God Games put out. What is it? Rappin' Athuk. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
That thing is like 70 levels, I think, of a dungeon, and it's like, whoa.
I mean, and I gotta be honest with you, I have never ever played like this mega huge dungeon ever. Like I love this kind of play, but it's always like smaller stuff. Like I don't know, I can think right now about Temple of the Lizard. How is it called? Temple of the Lizard King or something like that, by Scarpels or something like that. I can't
Hmm.
remember the name right now,
I'm gonna
but
have to look that one up later.
yeah, it's a very cool. It's not like mega dungeon, but it's huge. So that is like the biggest one I have ever explored or play like completely. And I always wonder like what it's like to play like this huge play. Like I'm going to be roaming around here like many years on game and out of it, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's it's so much fun to just crawl though, like you were saying, and you can't beat it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So, can you tell me a little bit about how you went from being Irvin the gamer to where you are now?
So I've been working like professionally since about like 10 years or something like that. So it started off with just trying to put together a gaming store. So here in Mexico, we don't have many specialized like hobby places where you can go and buy stuff. Like it's really hard to get like anything on Mexico. Uh, of course, lately it's been easier because we already have like Amazon and all these gaming sites, like online sites, excuse me, to actually buy and get stuff from other places, right? But if we go back like maybe 20, 50 years, like this was not possible, right? So I started like working on this project called El Reino de los Juegos de Mesa, which is translated to like, oh, the king of board games or something like that.
Nice.
And I started to putting together, bringing games, searching ways to actually get like modern board games here. You know, like Catan and maybe I don't know, Game of Thrones games and all these
Yep.
modern tabletop board games, right? And I found it very cool that people were actually wanting to buy things. Like they were actually searching for all this kind of hobby, like this escape, right, from reality, from social media, from all this stuff, right? And the store started growing up really fast, and it get it get like to be the biggest one or one of the biggest one on Mexico, and that's how it started all my professional gaming slash store slash entry to this kind of world. And it lasted like for like 7 years before I actually leave the project behind. But in the process, we made tons of cool stuff. Like we made huge events, like the biggest and first events in Mexico, and it was very amazing to see so many people and to grow with so many people because we have to introduce so many new people to board gamings, role playing games, and stuff. So it was such a cool ride to be with the store. Right now, the store it's like closed. I left it I left the project and it only lasts like 1 year and it just it has to stop, right? Because he was they were like getting away from what we started from, like board games, and they were getting into more like modelism, like miniature
Hmm.
gaming. And so anyway, the thing is that's where it started, like having to grow this store so people can get to know games and stuff, right?
Pretty cool. So it sounds like you've been able to build a pretty vibrant gaming scene in Mexico since, well, at least in like around Guadalajara. Am I even saying that right? Or
Yeah, you're
all right.
totally saying right. Yeah. So yeah, we've been like I've been trying to establish Guadalajara like the main focus for tabletop everything, not just tabletop RPGs, but tabletop board games, wargaming and stuff. Because we're like the second most, I don't want to say like important, but it's kind of like I don't know how to say it, but we're the second like main city from Mexico, or the
Yep.
third maybe. And it's been such a cool place for the community to build and to grow. And it's like it already has like this national recognition about it, like, oh, Guadalajara, it's like the place to go and search for maybe tabletop RPGs or maybe board gaming, because the community is huge. So we got so many people playing games here, and that just made me so happy. Yeah, we've been working on it so hard for so many years, like a decade. How you say that? Decade?
Yeah,
Yeah,
decade. Yep,
yeah.
you got
Thank
it.
you.
You're welcome. That has got to be so cool to be able to step back and kind of look at the view from above and see what you've been able to do over 10 to 15 years
Yeah,
and
and
just
it's
take it from non-existent to flourishing. That is high
yeah.
five
Thank
to
you.
you.
Let's go, like virtual hi-fi, right? And it's been so like I'm really proud of all the people, not like just me, because this scene, it has so many elements on them and so many key people that has been doing different stuff so we can be here like we're standing right now. And you, so you can like have a better understanding of how huge this is for Mexico. So we are very passionate gamers, because like getting or buying like anything hobby related, it's like expensive here for Mexican people. Just so you have like a vague idea, like the average like income that people has like daily, it's like about maybe like uh, how you say it? It's like
Dollars or like
yeah, on dollars it's like 10. Like I'm gonna put it on the chat and maybe you can help me
80
out
or
on StreamYard chart. You can say like
oh, okay, it's 1850. Wow.
thank you. Yeah,
So to
that
be
is like
able
the
to buy a book is almost like a week's salary for someone at times.
yeah. And if you think about it, and thank you for helping me because I'm horrible with numbers. In English, I guess, but I try. It's you have to be very passionate to actually save money so you can buy this stuff, right? uh Having in mind that you have to work for this and also live here, right? Like pay rent, pay food, and whatever you have to like pay monthly, right? So we
Wow.
have a very passionate community, and that is one of the main things that I try to actually make possible for people so to get games. And my games, I try to make them like the more accessible that I can, so people can actually buy them and don't
Yep.
like have like these kinds of problem. It doesn't mean that we don't spend, because I mean we clearly try to spend on so many cool things,
Right.
hardcovers and stuff, because we're very passionate about it. But you have to understand like how much this costs to us, right? Like how hard it is for us to get like anything related to gaming.
That is so cool though, because like I grew up very poor and I just see from what you just told me, I see people that take such good care of their books. And like, I used to know kids that would get books and just scribble all through them. And I'm like, no, 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 man. That's like a treasure. You've got to treat that with respect and
Yeah.
dignity and everything. And like, I dust my books still, and I'm doing much better than when I was a kid. But I take such pride in all the things that I'm able to get now because of being so much less fortunate when I was a kid. And then to have you put it into that perspective of someone making $18.50 a day will go and buy a $50 book is like, wow. Like that's awesome.
Yeah,
Like I love
those are like 2 3 days of work, of whole work, right?
it's
Like, it's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, I feel like the same way, and it's funny because you can look at different scenes from around the world, like gaming scenes, especially tabletop RPG scenes. And this just reminds me of this video from Runehammer, which I love his videos.
He's
And
awesome.
he was like You know what? I have to get rid of my whole collection of games because I'm only keeping like this five. And I was like, dude, I can even imagine to think that, right? Like this this whole like bookshelf has cost me way more than just money, right? It's like I can my head can conceive this. Like it's amazing that he do it like that, and he was like, oh whatever, I just give some away, I just did that, and I'm left with this, right? And I was like, oh, I wish I can do that, but it's just so hard for me, and just my head can just like wrap around the idea, right?
Right. Yeah. Man, I have not that like I just have so much respect for that because it takes me back to being a kid and how I would cherish things. And it makes me think of how much these people must cherish the books that they're able to get with their literal blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
from to get a book, and it's like, man, makes me appreciate what I have a whole lot more because yeah, it just that's crazy, man.
Yeah,
And I now I
and
wanna do something because 'cause I'm like, because I had actually tried to open an online store and it just went and
oh my god.
it just died right out. There's so many in the States that
Yeah.
it's like trying to swim against the current, that
But that is kind of like the cool thing. Like if we see the positive side about this, it's that people here work so hard for their
yeah.
games, but they don't stop, right? Like this doesn't stop them to getting stuff. And one of the things that I do with my project CobbleCon, which is like this uh, presential event about indie tabletop RPGs where we gather together, we play some cool games, have a couple of beers, have some pizza, and just like share with the community. We also have this like pop-up store that we put there, like this mini booth with games from all around the world. Like we work with Exalted Funeral, we work with Indie Press Revolution, we got like many people like we work together like very directly, like maybe hollow press, these Italian guys
Yep.
that make vermis and stuff, and we try to get as many books as we can so people can buy them cheaper, and they actually don't pay for like the shipping, because shipping it's like $40 if it's like internationally. So we
Mm.
try to get the most that we can. We try to sell them like at the very average prices that we can, so
Yep.
everyone can have some more books. And it's been amazing. Like the store, it's going so well. The event is going so well too, because we have so many passionate people here hungry for games. Like that's amazing.
That was the word I was looking for, hungry, like the passion to it is
Yeah.
like just so cool. And it kinda is the perfect segue, and now I kind of understand it a little bit more because you started making micro RPGs,
Yeah.
which are so cool looking, and the one that I saw that really made me I've got my notes taped up in front of me here. The one that really made me like, "Whoa," is Eerie Stories,
Oh, thank you.
and I'm just like, "I gotta get this game." So I'm gonna have to order it, and I'm just I wonder what inspired Irvin to start making micro RPGs, and I feel like that must have been part of it,
Yeah.
was to make the games more accessible while still keeping them, like, fun and enthralling, I guess would be the word that I'm looking for, like, really captivating, and because I saw that and I was just like, "That looks like such a fun game," and
Thank you. Yeah, so many of the things that I think when I design stuff and I try to, make my projects like public for the people in Mexico, I try to think on this like I don't want them to spend like so much money on something. So I try to work with scenes. Like we have so many great scenes around the gaming scene right now, and I was very inspired by it. Like we can take this format and make it available to people here in Mexico. So other people can also design their games and present their games in this format, and also so we can present something to the people that they can get like a reasonable price, right?
Right.
So many of my games are right now are like mini scenes, like standard scenes that they can be very 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 cheap, so people can get them and can play them and can like have this of a reasonable price. Like that is like what my main thing when thinking about this.
Yeah, I could, and I see why now when you're saying that a person only makes $18.50 a day. Like that's just so cool of you to do to like make things so much more accessible for people that love the games.
Yeah, and also I'm very inspired by many of the people around the world. My first game, it's called Exhume. I don't know how to pronounce it right in English.
For English, I even make mistakes, but I think it's exhume. I
Okay,
think the A is
Exhume.
almost silent. Jeez, I can't talk tonight.
Me neither, Dave. So we have to try this how hard. Um, Yeah, so that is like a mini scene, very inspired by Diogo Nogueira's Quest, and also very very inspired on Karen from Jo Chai Gal.
Yep.
And I learned so much from so many people around the world, especially from Joe Chai, that he actually like print copies of his game, which is very cheap because it's just like one sheet of paper just folded into this mini scene, and just leave them around in public places. So I make this little plastic, like these plastic bags where I put
Yep.
the scene. I put a couple of dices and I just start leaving them around on my city. And it was so cool to think about people finding them. And this was something that George I did. And I was like hearing his podcast and I hear this and I was like, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
I gotta do this right now because here in Mexico we don't have like in other places around the world you have like this like public libraries like, slash like cabinets where you
Yep.
leave books and stuff and people can get them no questions asked or something like that. We don't have that in Mexico because they would probably destroy or whatever, it's weird people here. And I was like, but I can put them on maybe like these bags and just leave them around public places so people can find them. And it was very fun to have messages from people like, I find this game, what is this and how does it work? It looks so cool. I feel like it's like it's such an experience to have something like this, and it worked really well. So Exhume right now it has like 23K or 32K downloads on each. That it's like
Nice.
way too much downloads because it's free, because it's easy to learn, so it's a very introductory kind of game. So that is great. Like I feel it really fits like the need from the scene on Mexico, right? That is why it's so popular, and there's so many people doing amazing stuff for it, like creating their hacks and making content like it was some kind of game jam or something like that. And that
Yeah.
is that is great.
It's like, and to think of how many people you have potentially inspired to want to make a game, is
Yeah.
so freaking cool. It's like, uh, I'd love to be down there experiencing this with you because it's like, it's got to be what it was like when Gary Gygax first made D&D, of like people just learning about it
Yeah.
and really getting into it and being like, "Oh my gosh, what is this? How do I find out more?"
Yeah,
And
I haven't think about it, but yeah, we're kind of like on this state on Mexico. Like speaking on design, on game design and stuff. Yeah, we're making like our first real steps to sort of saying, because it's been there have been attempts, there have been publications, but I don't know what is the oldest one, but it's been a while. Like maybe some people start thinking about this, like I'm going to publish a Mexican game, but somehow they just like put it out. They put like 100 copies about this, I believe, or 1,000 copies of this game, like the first uh Mexican tabletop RPG. But they just left the project there, like it just like kind of died, right? So right now we're working on, it's like this scene that is more constant, that has so many people with actual plays, with podcasting, with events, with public gaming tables, so we can have this kind of like a snowball effect, we've been
Yeah,
working on this so hard right now, like it's been years that not just me but too many people working on the same direction.
right.
And right now we're having like this great big snowball going down, just with so much force, with so much inspiration, so that it's great.
Dude, it's an inspiration to me. It's like I was saying to you earlier, I think there's a lot, and Raphael popped in to say, "Hey there,
Hey,
what's up,
Rafa.
my friend?" And it is such an inspiration to me what you're doing because and I'm not kidding when I say I wish I could move down there and help because it's like such a like a grassroots effort to
Oh
just
yeah.
to grow something so awesome into something bigger than even you, that it's like hell yes, like go for it, man. Like I love hearing this, and it's like
Oh, thank you so much. That is one of the main things that I love about the people that are making this possible right now. Which I'll keep saying it. It's just not like me, just only me.
right.
It's like this whole scene, and I love the word scene, like this gaming scene, because before our attempts, there were like words like community, my community, or that community, and to think about owning a community, it's the thing that I feel it just didn't work. Like to think about you own something, or you own people, or you own a scene, it's like n- not for the best of the interests of the
Right.
gaming scene. So I really love the word scene, because it's just not me, it's so many people working to get this scene and make it better and just bigger.
Dude, that is so cool. And Cobalt Con must be a big part of that. I was looking at the website and I'm like, dude, this looks like so much fun. And not that cons up here aren't fun. I have a great time going to cons,
Yo,
but
I wish I
for,
can have that great time.
we got to get you up here, my friend.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, I hopefully,
that would
hopefully
be
I will
great.
get there.
I just went to a con last weekend and it was so much fun. It was the Granite State Comic Con,
Oh,
and they
awesome.
have a whole gaming section, but the focus of the whole event was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
And
Great.
they had the creators of the comic there, and they also had Palladium Games there, who just re-released their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. And it's like, like
Let's
all I
go.
can hear in my head is the old cartoon theme from the 90s.
That is great. Did you enjoy like Palladium system and in Palladium
I
games?
have never played any of their systems.
So what I
And they've
really
got the
like about them.
pre-order up.
Oh, cool,
Oh,
cool.
go
So,
ahead. So
oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I'm younger than you, right? So Palladium, it's been for a while now. It's like for me, it's like an old version of a game, right? And when I found about it, I tried to get my hands on one game, and it actually my first Palladium game. It's like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Yep.
Somebody gifted to me, like, I know you love this, so here you have it. And it's like it's falling apart, but I love it anyway. And I really like it. Like I find it like it has like this combat economy that it actually works. Like I find it really really fun game. It seems hard, but it seems also very funny.
That's what a lot of people have said to me is that Palladium is perceived as hard, but it's not as hard as people think. And
Yeah. I really love the fact that you can actually get more attacks and more actions by getting skills. It's just fun.
yeah, it sounds fun. And it's the turtles. You got to love it. So,
Yeah.
so when was the first Cobalt Con?
All right. It was about 19 months ago, I
Oh,
believe.
wow.
We have like almost 2 years about of
Nice.
CobbleCon, and we try to make this event monthly. So it's every month we get together and we play games, especially alternative indie tabletop RPGs. We try not to focus like on the biggest names of the industry
Yep.
because there's way too many of that out there, right? And we don't like already like I already say like it's not bad, but it's not for us, right? We try to focus on this more independent, on these more indie games that we can try to get here, share and have fun with because we got so many people creating games here that we actually have like really connected with the indie tabletop RPG scene like globally. So I have a
Nice.
talk with so many authors from around the world. That includes maybe Eco from the Lost Bay. I have talked also with Nick or Goblin Archive, some liminal horror, Diogo Nogueira. We all have so many like we have talked to so many authors that we try to bring their games and play their games on our event. That is like the main thing that we want from this when we go to like play there. So we try to specialize on that kind of games, on that type of tabletop RPG, so we can support each other, support the indie global scene and support our local scene.
The indie scene is where it's at, my friend. It is so welcoming, and that's what I love most about it is that like I feel like the bigger games it's harder to break into. Whereas with the indie scene, people will be like, "Come on, I'll show you how to do this."
Yeah.
And you're come sit at our table and join us. And it's so different than and when I discovered it, it's like my heart just exploded because it's so cool how open and welcome the indie community is.
Yeah, we also have to have in mind the fact that it has so many roles like games, and that really helps to make everything faster, more on the story, less on the rules, or having just like enough to make it even better, like the stories, like to support the stories. And that is amazing for me. Like I've been playing tabletop RPGs for about 23 years now, like I said, and I started with 3.5 D&D, and all the way through here when I discovered like the OSR movement and the like old school Renaissance stuff,
Yeah.
and it was like about maybe like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yep.
For me it changed. Like I can't go back to the main things right now, like I just can't, because the heart, like the passion of so many people that produce this kind of games, it's just amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's like you're never going to find this kind of love and this kind of care for something, for your work, like on the main industry. For me, like this is
No.
my personal opinion, right?
I
Because
wholeheartedly agree.
yeah,
It is yeah, like the camaraderie and the brother and sisterhood of everything. Like when I go to a con, I don't seek out the Wizards of the Coast table.
yeah.
I look for the guys making zines, like you were saying, and it's like I'm like, that's my fam right there. It's
Yeah.
like that's where I want to be. And it's just it's so awesome.
Yeah, so that is since I discovered this, like I can't really go back anymore. It's just like there's so much passion, so much heart on these projects, and I love to actually connect with everyone because that is one of the main things that I really love about this hobby and about our gaming or global indie scene. It's that you can connect so easily with people. Like we're talking here right now,
Yeah,
Dave. Like that is
exactly.
amazing,
It's
right?
because Diogo told me to contact you about the
Awesome. Shout
project that
out to
I wanted
Diogo.
to.
Shout out.
I love Diogo, but the project that I had approached you about wanting to do, if it hadn't been for me meeting Diogo and having discovered Primal,
Mhm.
you and I would not be talking. And it's just, and that's what I mean. It's just I love the community and the way it just goes together
Yeah.
with everybody. It's like this impenetrable wall of awesomeness
Yeah.
that
And it's like
that
it's the first time I have ever talked to you, Dave, but I feel like I have known you for like forever
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
it's
have
the
this
same
in common.
thing.
It's this gaming scene that we support each other and we feel like we're friends from a long time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, um, are you familiar with Luau Lu? Have you
No,
heard
not
the
exactly.
name? I
No.
will I will have to introduce you to because you will love him. Lou is a great guy, but he said one day about me, and it made me say, "Aw." He had said that sitting down to talk with me was like sitting down with an old friend and having a beer.
Oh, that is what I
And
feel
I
right
feel
now.
the same way. That's how I feel about you, is like we've known each other for years and we're just sitting here reconnecting,
Yeah.
and it's like and I love that about this community, that it's like I'm sure there are people that don't get along, but I don't ever see it. It's like, because it's always like, like, Diogo and Gabrielle are like, "Oh, talk to Irvin." And you're like, "Oh, they're so awesome." And then I'm like,
Thank
"You're
you.
also awesome." And it's like,
We're all awesome, right?
we're all awesome. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm really happy about it. Thank you for mentioning it about maybe the mention also from Diogo and Gabriel, because what I'm trying to do with the things that I do is trying to put Mexico on the map. Like like you have to know that we are here and we're making stuff and we love your stuff too, and we want to play your stuff, and hopefully we can present you with our games, and maybe you guys can give it a look and just try to taste the difference from designing to for different scenes. Like
Yeah.
I see the European gaming scene maybe from Free League and stuff, and it's so different than the American stuff, which is so different from the Japanese stuff, which is so different from
Yeah.
the Latin American stuff. So that is awesome. It's like testing different kind of beers, and we all love
Yeah.
beer, I guess.
I I don't drink, but I like
Oh,
food. I was gonna say it's like a buffet of
cool.
like an international buffet of awesomeness.
Yeah.
And Francisco here is saying I've got to check out Eerie Stories. It's one of the best indie RPGs out there. And then this is kind of funny because Oscar says the interviewer is being
Oh
interviewed.
God.
It's the same way for both of us, kind of, It's like, but dude, I'm having so much fun, and just hearing about the Mexican gaming scene has been like throwing a bunch of logs on my internal fire. Like if like it's just inspired me so much. Like if like to think that like what people put into things just to get a book. Like I can't get that out of my head because there's so many things that I take for granted being in the United States
Yeah, I
that
mean,
it's true. Like I'm so privileged to live here and to be able to do the things that I do. And man, it's like I just want to be like, fuck yes, because it's like to have that type of community that is so into something that they're willing to put 3 days pay into getting a book at times is like, wow,
Yeah,
it's
so I
like,
I feel like it's important so you can have like some kind of context. So what is our situation here, right? And it's not like, oh, nobody has money because
no, I'm not
Mexico
saying
it's
that, but it's like,
no, 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 no,
it's
no.
like,
Like I say it, right, like no, it's big. Mexico is kind of weird because we have like that was like the average of income for people here, but it also we have like way too rich people here. I don't know why. It's like so weird. Like we have so many like way too richer people and way too like poor people, and it's Mexico's so weird. Like when all this time that I have my store, like it's not a necessity, right? It's not something like you need to actually live. These are products that you don't need, right? And still I have it like for like 6 years of selling like really good.
yep.
And it says a lot about Mexico because it means that there's so much money there to be made, right? And that we're not like all poor people because
And I
clearly
hope I didn't
there's
insinuate that,
no,
because
no, 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 no,
I'm
no,
like,
no, 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 no. Like I'm saying it because yeah. So no, don't worry, don't worry. No, it was not from you. Like I'm saying it, and it's weird. Like it's so irregular. I don't know, but it's important for me to mention it because you have to know how much it costs for us to get a book, right? And what it means to have this book and what it means to get it here without paying like $40 of international shipping. That it's
right.
important, and having more accessible games so people can play it. So we got so many authors here right now. Like we got another games like Sheno, we got Nox Maledictus, and every one of these games tries to make them affordable to people, like having these small formats like a staple bound and stuff, you know?
Sorry, I am responding to
No worries, no
Francisco
worries.
here.
Yeah, so Dave didn't say anything, people. I say, don't worry. It's a Mexican guy who lives in Mexico who actually learned to speak English by playing tabletop RPG games and video games and listening to music. That is the way I learn or try to learn English. So
Well, I think you do a very good job for with speaking English. Like,
thank you.
um, but yeah, I love, like, Francisco. I'll pop this up. He says, "Mark his words, the future of the horror genre is coming from Latin
Thank
America."
you so much, Francisco. Thank you.
Man, I think I love horror. Like, I don't, and I think you do too.
Yeah.
Just looking at everything and like the background that I have up that we can kind of see. Um, yeah, horror is so cool. It's like there's nothing beats being able to suspend reality in your head and get scared at a table. It's like
Yeah.
it's so fun. And yeah,
It's weird because like I will say like, and maybe this is like not like completely true, but I will say like maybe 17% of the games that we have seen launch on Mexico like early, this this early days, this early time, I don't know how to say it, they all they all have in common that they are all about horror games. Like we weirdly, or I don't know how to say it, like we Mexicans love horror so much that our games are almost always like focus on this genre, like on horror and stuff, on maybe in horror and also its subgenres. So yeah.
yeah, like, oh, I love horror. I've got my 14-year-old daughter. Uh, she fell in love with the movie The Lost Boys.
Oh yeah, awesome.
I
See.
love that movie, but I gave her my password to watch it online. And every time now I go on to watch a movie, it shows that she's watched it within a day or two. She's watched it like 30 times in the last month. And
Great.
it's like, oh man, I'm losing track. I'm having so much fun here. I'm just like, um, so you said you do Kobold Con every month.
Yeah.
I've got to get down there. I've decided that already. Like, I'm coming to
Let's
Guadalajara.
go. We have to
I
work
am
this out,
going.
Dave.
I am going to go and buy Rosetta Stone or something so I can learn some Spanish beyond knowing swear words and yeah, I've got to do it because I think we would have so much fun together and within the community that you've helped to build
Thank you.
that
Thank you.
it's just oh
You
it's
just
so
have to worry about getting here, Dave, and just you get here, and we try to make it easy for you. We translate for you. We're going to make you a tour for all around Guadalajara, and you're going to
hell
play
yeah.
and drink and eat and everything until you go back to the USA feeling full of awesomeness and on great
If
food,
I come
great games.
back, you might be able to keep me down there.
Yeah.
Like it's like everything that you're doing and other people are doing with you is what I want to be a part of in gaming. And that's why like I love the indie scene is because it's like, like Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland is
Yeah.
one of my favorite games. If you've watched any of my interviews, you've seen the hat that I usually
Yeah.
wear.
I love it too.
And it's like what Brian has done and Joey Royale and Luau Lu. There's so many people I'm going to forget, and Brian Collin and all the games up here that so many people are making that you feel the passion. You know what I mean? Of like, you can feel the heartbeat of the community, and you can't beat it. And it feels like it's crazy down there, and I've got to come be a part of it. So
Yeah. I'm so proud of all the people that are making games, that are actually making events, that are supporting this national gaming scene here in Mexico, and it is just like a communal effort, and that it's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah. So I hopefully I hope that you can actually come here to Mexico at some point, and I will try to, like I said, like give you a tour and just show you around so you can see how everything is going on here, and it will be amazing. And hopefully people can start to look at Mexico and say, oh, you know what, there's a small but really strong gaming scene there
yeah,
that are making so many games, and so many of them are getting translated right now. Like my games are getting translated, so hopefully in a couple of months you can read Eerie Stories, maybe that the one you can see on the
nice.
background on English, and you can try it out and see it, because it's kind of weird. If you look at it right now, you have like this small dice tower, so the game
Yep.
works with this like kind of like a reverse thread. You have to build this dice tower with all the players on the table, and if the dice tower falls, it's when the creepy stuff starts to show. It's a very funny, very like gamey party game.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So it sounds like I would need to keep my big belly away from the table and like not bump the table when I get up, or everybody will be like, "Oh no, here goes the bad
But
stuff."
that is kind of like part of the charm, because when the tower is starting to get like really high, like nobody wants to even like breathe. It's like, whoa, don't touch. And that really adds up to like the atmosphere of
Yeah.
the yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, I love that feeling of being at the table and like if you've got people holding their breath so they don't accidentally knock the dice tower over. That is so cool because it's going to create so much
Tension, right?
tension at the
Yeah.
table that you're going to be like, Irvin, don't breathe.
And it's also very inspired on like Everyone is John and games like that, because there's only one protagonist in the game, and every player it's playing some kind of emotion or part of the brain. Like one people is interpreting like anger, one is interpreting like uh, I don't know how to say, like scare, like this emotion like of being scared.
Yep.
And every time you throw your dices, the emotion that gets like the higher result, it's like the one that takes control of the game scene right now. So you have this group of people controlling only one guy or girl who is going through this horrible experience, right? This horrible story, very based on found footage horror. So it's a very fun party game slash dread like game. So that is great.
I love it. And you've got another game that you're working on right now, if I'm not mistaken, Ultra
Yep.
Violence.
Yeah, yeah. That's one game that I'm very excited about.
And what can you tell me about it?
So Ultra Violence, it's a love letter to like boomer shooter games. Like
My kind of
me
when I used
too.
to go to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee and
Yeah.
stand at the arcade cabinet, like shooting all day.
Yeah. So it's a love letter to Doom and all like the 19s shooters, computer games and stuff. And it's been I'm working on it with guest artists, which is called a very good friend of mine called Penny Melgarejo, which is a Spanish dude and tattoo artist that it's just amazing. We actually get together, like we meet because he loved the stuff that I make here in Mexico, like my games. And he was like, I want to do something for your games and just draw this amazing like logo type from one of my games called Exhume. And we start talking from there. So it's like it's always it's always the hobby joining us together, right? So that
Yeah.
is why I meet Penny, and he was like, we have to work on something together, Irvin. And I was like, all right, let's go, but I can't pay you, Penny, because you're way too expensive. Your art is amazing. And it was like, don't worry about it, we're going to make this come true. And we let her see like the money and stuff. And, all right, let's go. So we're working on this together. Penny is such a fan of Doom too, so it's this kind. I want to have this game like very inspired on Eat the Right, like having throw like so many dices, like pool of dices of d6s
Yeah.
that you can imagine like bullets flying, and it's ultra violent, ultra fast, but it's also very gamey on the fact that you're like the cool thing about Doom, it's having different combinations of different enemies and how you deal with it. Like this is from from its game design. Like it's it's planned like this, right? So I try to actually have this and put it on the tabletop so you can have many combinations of different enemies. And it's obviously base combat, so you're having this really fun, really, again, like gamey. Have you played like King of Tokyo and stuff?
No.
Okay, like it's kind of based on that, where you're throwing so many dice, so many d6s, and you're looking for combination like 666, and you maybe can kill like in a grudge way, some like in a brutal way, one of the enemies. And
Nice.
it's just this silly fun ton of dice of game. So yeah, it's probably coming really, really soon.
I can't wait. It sounds like a lot of fun. So, yeah, I've got to put coming to Guadalajara on my list and learning Spanish so I can get the original copies of your games and play them. So,
Thank
I've
you.
it's got to be done. And I'm trying to think. That was all the questions I had, but I don't want to stop talking. I'm having so much fun that let me see. I'm trying to think. I definitely the project that I had talked to you about would love to do that because I think we would make a kick-ass game and maybe make it in the same style as Ultraviolent even. I
Yeah, yeah,
think that
sure.
could be achieved because except like I told you my concern, and it's funny how you went. You're like, no, I'm saying this. It's not Dave
Yeah,
saying this,
I know, I
because
know.
that was my biggest concern. Is
No, no worries.
like of touching a game like that, and I don't have a problem talking about it with
Yeah,
people, of like just approaching the Azteca civilization, because it's never been put into a game,
yeah.
and it's like I think
Yeah,
that
no,
could be
I
so
mean
cool.
it's great that you actually care about this because I know I don't know, it's different here in Mexico. We don't have that many. I'm going to use this word because I don't have like a very extensive dictionary of words to use.
I'll help you out.
So those kind of sensibilities, like we're not like the reality that we're actually living in Mexico is way different that you guys are having on the USA because you're
Right.
like this enormous like country, right? And you have so many cultures and them in there with you. So you gotta learn from my point of view. Of course, this is my opinion totally. I feel like you have to learn how to live with each other, right? Like
Yeah. Oh,
respectfully and stuff,
absolutely.
right? And we don't have that the same problem here in Mexico. We're living like differently, and we're trying to learn from this. Of course, we're trying to put more sensibilities on stuff, but it's just way different here in Mexico. It's because like I read Eat the Right, and there's
Yep.
so many pages designated to like trying to be respectful with the setting, with the people, and I feel like it was amazing. But it's something that, as a Mexican, it just kind of like surprised me, right? Like, oh, so like they spend so much time and pages and art, like not waste, okay, but they spend so much trying to be so respectful with this, and that
Yeah.
just means that you guys care so much to be uh, respectful. Like that is the word, right?
Yeah. And really, like, to me, like, the Azteca civilization was so beautiful, like, with the usage of colors and everything,
Yeah.
that I'm just like, damn, something's got to be done with that. And I'm just like,
So I write with with another Mexican writer called Mario, my friend. We
yep.
both write together this kind of setting, like very inspired on pre-Hispanic stuff for Primal Quest.
Oh,
The
nice.
thing is, it only comes with the Spanish version because it haven't been translated. I don't know if we can like publish it by yourself because it was published under a Spanish publisher. So we try to actually put some of our cultures in our games, like Channel. Like I know Rafa, it's the right, and it's on the chat there.
Yep.
He tries to put so much of our culture in their games. I try to put mine so hard so other people can like experience something different, right? Something
Yeah.
unique from our culture, and that's great. That is amazing.
Yeah. Like, I think American culture, me personally, is television and guns. There's really nothing spectacular about at least modern culture. And
I mean,
but
but it has its charm because
it
maybe you
does,
you
because
see it from the inside, but for us on the outside, it's very unique, right?
oh, it's unique, all right. um, but there's a lot that can be done. It's like, you look at our past, and like the different generations and the different eras. Like, one of the people I mentioned, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, Joey Royale.
Oh
He
yeah, yeah,
has his game WHPA, the public access game, that is based around like old, like late 70s and 80s public access television, when it was like Walter Mercado and stuff like that on
yeah,
TV. And it's just, so you are right in that sense, that there's a lot in our culture that I don't always necessarily look at, because I live on the inside of it, that
yeah,
I'm just like, meh, you know.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Arcadia Libre podcast said empathetic could be the word.
Yeah,
So yeah,
totally.
yeah. Well, and I think a lot of that too comes from the bad shit that's been done. It's like the what we've taken from people. I've it's yeah, I mean, it's
um
I don't know,
yeah, I
it's a
mean
deep
it's kind of like
it's a deep
complicated,
rabbit
right?
hole to go
Yeah,
down.
yeah, we maybe don't want to touch that, but
Yeah,
but what we're trying to say right now, it's like even 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 if there's so many walls between us, it
there's not
doesn't
the
stop us.
gaming takes it and
No. Yeah, it just
it's like
shredded apart. Like it destroys walls, it destroys like everything. And that is one of the things that I find so magic about this hobby and about this game. Like it's just beautiful to see and experience all this.
this guy right here that I printed.
Let's go.
We could both come up with a story about him
Yeah, totally.
like that, and it would and make a kick-ass game about him. And it would be
Yeah.
so
And
fun.
just connect with the dice, like even like talking about dices, that is just like another huge
It's
subject that you can start
universal.
talking. Yeah, it's universal, right? How do you like them? Do you like them about like metal ones, plastic ones, beautiful stone ones? Like there's way too much to talk about.
I will tell you, I am not a fan of the metal ones because they always tear my dice tray.
Oh, oh, damn, yeah.
I will
So
throw them, and then it's like takes a chunk out of like the
yeah,
dice tray, and it's like,
yeah,
oh no. They're beautiful though.
yeah,
Like I'm old school. I've got like my solid colors of dice.
yeah.
Like I like the old school, like red with white lettering, the black and
Oh,
yellow
yeah, yeah. Awesome.
lettering and stuff like that. I'm old.
I personally love like the precious stone ones, but they are
Yeah.
way too expensive, and I'm always like fearing that they're going to drop off the table and just uh like destroying half, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I love them, but I also I'm like very fearful of using them. But you know what? I just throw them. So, but I love them. I love my precious stone dices.
It's funny that you bring up throwing them and having them break. I was watching this podcast,
Oh no.
and this guy was saying he had just gotten a set of stone dice. He
God.
was showing it to his friend, and his friend tossed it back to him, and he missed it, and it hit the corner of the table and then broke a chunk off of the dice. And I'm just like, oh no.
God, no. Yeah.
Oh my
That
God.
must be horrible, but yeah, I love those. And also I really, really love I don't know about you, but I really, really like the DCC dices, like the Sochi
Yeah.
dice. God,
Yep.
those are amazing. Like I love the colors. I love the different forms that it comes, like the number of dice that it comes with every tube. It's just amazing. I love them.
I can't reach mine. They're right up here, and I don't want to stand up and grab them, but I love.
I got a couple here.
Nice.
They're
Nice.
very beautiful. I love them.
They are. There is
Yeah.
a set that I have been on a quest to find that are very expensive because they're one of the first sets they ever put out, the white with the red numbers.
I haven't seen those.
They are oh, I want to get them so bad. Like you can't find them anymore, and if you do, it's in someone's collection. And they're
Wow.
never going to let them go. And it's just one of those color combinations that I'm like, that looks so cool. Like
Yeah.
but I
I
would
mean,
have to play with them. And then I've got
we.
this
Oh.
chunky boy here. Hold on one. This big guy.
Oh, that is amazing. I love it.
This thing is so huge, but it's called the pumpkin.
That is
Arcadia
so
says they're having a
cool.
dice-gasm.
Yeah, I love those like big chunky dice because you can use them to like very important roles. Like you have to save or die or something like that. Use the big one. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Right? It's amazing.
Something tells me playing eerie stories, this would not be a good one to roll on the table with a big dice tower. Because it would just go boom, and the dice tower would go
Yeah, it will
boom.
go. And it was funny because a couple of friends of mine they tried to play it with different sizes of game just because they want to try it out. And some people got like plastic ones, some people got metal ones, and they were different sizes. So we have to say that there's a gaming aspect of building a tower because if you start with a D6, it's easier than if you start with maybe like 1d8 or something, you know?
Right, because of how big the face of
Yeah.
the dice is. Yep.
So it has like this gaming aspect about how you build this tower. Um and they try to like get advantage from it, like, oh, we're gonna use this and this because they're bigger and these are metals, so tower is going to be so stable that but it was just worse. Like it was the worst stuff.
It's funny. Have you ever played the game called Dread,
Yeah,
where they
yeah,
use the Jenga tower? Oh man, I have the shakes, so trying to push I shake a lot, so
yeah,
trying to push that out and put it on top in like a tense
yeah.
situation, I would get everybody killed.
Yeah, so that is why my game it's based on like a reverse dread game. You know,
Right.
you're not like you okay on dread. So you have this whole tower put together, but you on eerie stories you try to build the tower and try not to get it down. So it's kind of like a reverse
Yeah.
version of dread. Yeah.
So I know something else we can talk about that we never touched on yet. Roll per second,
Oh yeah,
your
yeah. That's right.
podcast and
Yeah.
everything. So how did that get started?
So I basically tried to start blogging because I was so inspired by the blogosphere of the OSR. Uh, and I tried to build my own blog around 2013, maybe. Um, and it was such a lonely experience because nobody blogs about OSR games on Spanish, and I was
Yep.
trying to like build this community, this Mexican community of OSR, but it was so lonely. There was not many people like searching for this kind of content, right? And that was like how it started. So I start blogging about my gaming tables, about how I do stuff, about how I see and I perceive and I learn from things about the blogosphere. And I started doing it like just regularly, not like you will actually treat a project like a real project, but it was just like spontaneously writing on this blog. It all started like there. So roll per second, it's a very old project of mine, but I just recently started like really really doing it right, like how you're supposed to do things right. So it's been like 2 years since I started doing it like seriously,
Nice.
and it's been through so many changes because I started like going on podcasting first, just audio, and then I start to moving on to like YouTube and maybe having this camera because right now who doesn't do like podcasts with video? It's kind of weird, so it's
Yeah.
like the future or something like that. You have to be doing this with a camera and stuff. um and it started to work way better. Like people start to connecting more, people start to listening more. um we got so many people tired of the main games, like the bigger games like D&D, and we got so many people looking for alternative games. And honestly, here on Mexico, there's no many people that talk about like indie or alternative games. And I was like, you know what, I want to talk about that I feel like that is the thing that I enjoy the most. So I want to talk about that. Thing is, I love to do this, but numbers are not like really, really, really great because if you look out for guys that talk about D&D on Spanish in Mexico, they got way too much subscribers. They got way too
Yeah.
much people, way too much views than me, because people are searching like, oh, this is how you do a Sorkadim build or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't have that many subscribers or followers. I've been building up like very slowly. But what I found is that I have a very, very loyal community. And that's what I love about what I do. Like, I don't have like the biggest numbers of Mexico, because there's people that is huge here, but their destined or their main focus, it's just like D&D.
Yeah.
And I'm here talking about what I love, gaming scene, indie scene, alternative games, and that is amazing. That is what I love of what I do. So I basically podcasts, I do events, and I do blogs also on my Patreon, and I do so much stuff referring to indie games under this name or this project called Roll Per Second. And that is how we actually met, Dave, because I interview Gabriel Quiroga. I also work with Diogo Nogueira because of this project that I have, the of Roll Per Second, right?
Yeah. It's crazy. But and I'm in the same boat because I don't think I'll ever have the subscribers of like a D&D channel.
Yeah.
But I love doing this. Like for like I dude, I have had so much fun talking to you tonight that like I could sit here and talk for probably another 2 hours with you, but I won't torture you like that.
Oh no, I mean, it's been a pleasure. I love to
Oh
talk with
yeah.
everyone. Like, it's such a cool experience to share different kind of scenes. And I was kind of worried because first, my English, it sucks. So I'm sorry to everyone
Oh,
listening.
dude, you're
I hope
doing fantastic. Your
I
English does not suck. Let me tell
thank
you
you.
that
Uh,
first.
I was worried about that. Number one. Second, I was really thinking about, okay, if I was in America, what I would be interested in hearing from someone from Mexico, right? And what I really try to talk about, or what I really want to bring to the table to this talk was, you know what, we are here, we're making stuff, we're learning so much from you guys, because we haven't like right next to us, right? And that
Right.
is something that I talk with Spanish folks so much, from Spain. It's like, oh, you guys have this amazing indie scene uh because you're so unique or whatever. And I'm like, no, it's because we have USA right next to us, and they're making such an amazing stuff. They're making so much cool games and different games on different formats, and we have learned so much from you guys. So it's such a funny amalgamation combination, maybe.
Amalgamation. Is that
Thank you
Yep,
so much. Yeah,
you're
it's
welcome.
because we have our very unique way of seeing and designing and throwing dice, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But we're
No, it
combining
does.
them with so much different cultures that we're learning from and seeing from. Like I said, like I have like taking a look to like European scene with free league and stuff, right? We all have so many different ways of thinking and throwing dice and telling stories, and it's so interesting to see and talk with people from around the world to learn from them and to share these kind of experiences, right?
Yeah. Well, you have inspired me. I can't even express to you how and what we had talked about happening of me waking up and being up until dawn again
Yeah.
is gonna happen because I'm so fired up now just from hearing about the scene in Guadalajara and around you that it's like, dang, like we've got to make it happen that I get down there. I don't know when it'll be, but it's gonna happen and we'll have a grand old time.
Yeah, just you just worry about getting here, and get here, we just move you around, we
Yeah, we'll
translate
figure
for
it
you.
out from there.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And
Yeah,
you can
I
come
don't
to like CobbleCon. We also have this, like, the biggest Mexican convention of tabletop games. It's not like focused on tabletop RPG, but it's like the biggest on tabletops. And
Yep.
we actually try to to go there and always put so many gaming tables for people to experience. So we work hand in hand with the organizers from that event and try to put so much indie tabletop RPGs as we can. So we maybe we can like figure out dates so you can like join us on maybe on that event, and you can see like the biggest event in Mexico.
That
Go
would be so
around,
cool.
go to the CobbleCon, meet everyone, like the authors and stuff. And like we are always so uh opening and welcoming to new people. Like I have talked with about this with so many authors. Like if you want to come, you just make sure you get here and don't worry about anything else. Like we can help you out so you can meet everyone and see everything.
We got to figure it out for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Um, I should probably let you go. As much as I don't want to, I could stay on here and talk your ear off all night. But yeah, wow, we've actually been going over an hour. That's crazy. Oh, I know one other thing I wanted to tell you. What got me into podcasting was
Oh, cool.
when I was a little kid, I used to carry this little red tape recorder around with me that was about this big, and I had a record player, and I would record the music on the record player and me talking over it like I was the DJ on the radio station. And now technology has completely allowed me to do that. So now I'm getting to live what I wanted to do when I was 6 years old and getting to meet awesome people like you.
That
That
is amazing,
I
Dave. That
love
that
it.
is
And
so
it's
inspiring. Yeah, that is great. You know what? I feel like here in Mexico, at least in Guadalajara, there's not such a thing like. I mean, maybe in Mexico, there's not such a thing like a tabletop RPG industry,
yep,
sort of speaking. Like this doesn't exist, and I feel like we are like creating this path so people can actually try to live by working on this kind of projects, right? And
yeah,
that's what I feel like when I was like when I was younger, like when I was a teenager, I couldn't think about anything else other than tabletop RPGs. Like I played whole days, whole nights with my crew, with my gang, and it was so glorious days, like such an amazing time, right? And I was always thinking like I would love to do this my whole life, this is I was born to do this.
yeah,
And what I'm trying to do right now is to just settle the ground so I can do this for a job, and other
yep,
people can do this. So every one of my projects, I try to hire people, pay them by like global standards. Try to find out how other peoples are working professionally on this, and I learned so much with Goodman Games because they actually invited us to CobbleCon. Talking about CobbleCon, they invited us to actually talk on their on this kind of like how you say it in this. They were having like this online
oh, I know what you're
lesson.
talking about. The oh, see,
It's
don't feel bad because the word is even eluding me. It was the symposium or something
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
of
something
like
like that. Yeah, like this whole week of learning industry kind of stuff from like professional people. And
yep,
we got invited to actually talk about the gaming scene in Mexico or Latin America because we have some experience, like 10 years of experience working professionally on this. And we learned so much, so much. And it was amazing for me to actually have this from people who are working professionally on this gaming scene. So we're trying to build that. We are trying to get this like to work on this on a different level, to start working on some kind of publishing stuff for Mexico. So I totally understand what you're feeling, Dave, with your little camera. I feel
yeah.
like the same, like with my notebook and taking just notes to make my next great campaign. So yeah, I really, really feel you.
And that's why I said earlier, with what you're trying to do, it must have been like what it was like when D&D was first made here. It's like it's just so, again, pardon my language, it's so fucking cool
Thank
that
you.
it's like I love it. And like after we get off the air, I've got a couple ideas I want to bounce off of you of stuff I'd
Oh
like to
yeah,
do
totally.
because one, I want to like what's the word I'm looking for? Ah, man, my brain is going everywhere now because
No worries, Dave.
you seriously have like inspired me so much tonight, and all the people around you. Like you can see in the chat, this is one of the busiest chats that I've ever had of like just all these people that love games from Mexico. That it's just like it's crazy, and
Oh,
I love
thank
it.
you. No,
And
thank you so much for the invitation, and I have
I'd love
enjoyed
to have
really
you
much.
back.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you
Totally.
back on sometime. Um, and if I want to get into streaming games, and what I think would be really, really cool is to have you come on and be a part of one of the groups
Ah, that will be
at some
amazing.
point.
Yeah, I'll be very happy
And
to do so.
I don't know when I'm going to do it. I've got so much going on. Like I was telling you, I'm trying to start the 3D print business, and
Yeah.
we're also starting a fulfillment company for
Oh
people
yeah,
that
I
run their
saw that. That is
crowdfunding. And it's
awesome.
like I don't feel like I'm destined to be a writer in the community, but I'm meant to be here. So
That
I take what I know, which is packing, shipping, 3D printing, and stuff like that, and I've turned it so that it fits in that empty spot, I guess you would say. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, and it makes a lot of sense because my business partner, because we're two people in front of CobbleCon, uh, its name is it's Hugo or Hugo.
Yep,
He talked a lot with Goodman Games with Joseph Goodman,
yep,
and he said something very important for him and for us, and it was Hugo. It's more like on the business kind of or part of the side of the project. I mean, yeah, he's more on the on the business side of the project on CobbleCon,
yep,
and more on the community management,
yep.
artsy inspirational stuff, or part of the project. And he's always so worried about like, oh, you know what, I'm good with numbers and stuff, no, like making sure this works properly. And Joseph Goodman said that to him, like, if you're good with that side, leave everything else to the people who can write, who can do other stuff. Not because he can write very cool too, but he's so worried about this, right? Like, oh, I need to be a writer or whatever, an artist to be part of this.
You
And
don't
that's such a
though.
lie. Yeah, that's such a
Yeah,
lie because you can do your part on doing what you do good, right? And that is
yeah.
cool. You're still part of the whole movement.
Right. Like my thing is trying to eventually break through and get people to know about all the awesome stuff going on in the gaming world through my podcast and everything else. And yeah,
That
I
is
don't know.
amazing,
I'm
Dave.
having so
That is
much fun doing
amazing.
it that like it has enriched my life so much. Like the friends I've made, like you and so many other people. Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah, me too. Like I've been working on this like so professionally on tabletop scene. I've been working like 7 years or something. Uh, Professionally on tabletop RPGs, I've been working professionally like 2 years or something. And it's not like I've been earning like the best money of my life. Honestly, it just doesn't pay that well. But I've
No.
been the happiest like
But
ever.
what it does right here
Yeah.
is what counts.
Yeah, totally. Like I've been so glad and so happy to be putting all my efforts into this and knowing such an amazing people like you, Dave, and like all these friends
Thanks.
I got like around the world. Like I feel so safe that I can go to Spain and maybe my friend Penny is going to receive me with his arm open, or I can
Yeah.
go maybe to the USA, or I can go maybe like even to Brazil or something, and somebody is going to be there to receive me, and that is just such a warm feeling, and I'm so like
Blessed, really.
blessed.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
to be doing this.
I've never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right. Like, there is now, I don't think, a single continent that I could not go to. Well, maybe Antarctica, unless a penguin made
Oh,
a
yeah,
that's about
that
the
is.
only one, but, like, I know someone now everywhere that I could go and learn from on every
Dang.
place in the planet that it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, I almost gave up doing this a couple years ago. Like, it's been
Oh,
about 3 years that I've been
yeah.
doing this, and I used to get so frustrated because I wasn't getting subscribers. And the day that I stopped worrying about what I had for subscribers, everything changed. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like, I don't think I'll ever be the guy, like we were saying earlier, that has 2,000,000 subscribers and 200,000 views on his video, but when I see 100 people have watched one of my videos, it's like I've touched 100 people's lives
yeah.
that have now learned about Irvin's project and Pavel's project and everybody else's, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's what I feel too, because it gets you down. Like, you're making this content, you're making this YouTube channel, and you don't see like views or maybe subscribers. I feel, yeah, I've been there too. Like, wow, why is people not watching my content, right? Like, why is, but when you stop worrying about this and you just focus on what you love, people
Yeah.
can actually see it. Like, they feel this, right? Like, oh, you know what, this guy's so into gaming. Like, I love to hear him
Oh,
speaking. That is stuff that I get. Like, I love to see you speak about what you love, Irvin, and that's why I'm on your Patreon giving you like $2 a month or something, and
yeah.
that for me, that it blows my mind, and I'm always so grateful and so blessed, and I always like thank everyone, like, thank you so much for helping me be, it's like staying here, like working about this that I love.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy, like, and I love it so much. And that's what I had to figure out was it's not about the subscribers, it's not about the views. It's about getting to talk about what I love with other people that love it as much as I do,
Totally, yeah.
you know? Well, all right, my friend. I am gonna let you go. Everybody that tuned in tonight, thank you so much. And Irvin, I would love to have you back and definitely stick around after because I've got some ideas.
Yeah,
And
totally.
and
Thank you so
folks,
much for having
oh,
me, Dave.
thank you for coming on. Like, we've got to do this again. So,
Yeah, we totally have to do this. And also, I have to mention a fun fact. I have never ever played a tabletop RPG, like a session of a tabletop RPG on English, like ever. I don't know
oh,
why, but I have
you'll
never
be
played in
fine.
English.
You'll be fine, and definitely get it going. I've just been, like I was saying, so busy trying to get everything else going, but we'll figure it out and we'll make it a fun game.
It will be
All
my
right.
first game, so yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope I get to be your first and that somebody doesn't beat me to it. All right, folks, have a great night and thank you so much for tuning in.